Well, it's time to depart, so we're on our Eurostar Italia train. So our tour guide gets us right on the train and everything, finds our seats. Very busy train station, but we're off to Rome. Should take about an hour and 15 minutes to get there. Some beautiful graffiti on that train over there. Goodbye to Florence. Here we are on our way to Rome. There's some beautiful hills out this side here. The Italian countryside. Saw a few vineyards a while back, but it's very nice.
I'd like to get a book of wildflowers wherever we travel.
Yeah, and did you get one? Yeah.
Some
Not
interesting,
yet. I already have a book of European wildflowers.
formations
I'm not
over
sure
here.
I need one.
Look at those rocks.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
About 6 weeks ago, I saw 3 crows, and I guess it was an owl from.
There's a view of the beautiful agricultural farmland here. Seen a lot of vineyards, although I don't see any. Oh, there's some back over there. And we're getting close to Rome now. It's unusual because there's a lot of forests all of a sudden. Whereas pretty well all the way down from Florence it was agriculture and vinlands and vineyards and all that sort of thing. And ooh, there's quite a steep hill over there. Alright, so here we are in Rome. We got checked into our hotel. And this hotel is much more modern than all the other ones that we've had, but it is great. It's almost like a suite. We've got, what they've been doing is adding in for the third person. They've been adding, that's Benjamin over there, the third person. They've been just putting a bed in the middle of the floor. So they've started taking over part of our living room. But it's okay, it's really beautiful. It's all modern, like I said. The other 2 hotels we stayed in were quite old buildings, but they were very elegant. But again, very nice. Go take a picture of the bath.
So I have to use the washroom.
I'm just going to take a picture of it. Benjamin has to use the washroom. So I just take this picture and you can go in. So here we are in Rome. It's pretty busy around here. And we're in an interesting little corner with all these different statues and things like that. Reliefs in these buildings. We're heading off to the Trevi Fountain, which is down this way. Zoom in down the streets. It is very busy. Take your life in your hand crossing the streets. And here we are out in front of the National Gallery of Ancient Art. We've got some really neat trees growing here. Very nice looking property. Lots of nice statues in there. So this obelisk in front of us was actually stolen from ancient Egypt by the Romans. Don't know which Roman stole it. Yes, when we get closer we'll be able to see the hieroglyphs on the obelisk. So this is a close-up. I'm not sure if you start reading hieroglyphs from the top to bottom or right to left or what you do. We'll get Benjamin to interpret these for us when he gets home.
Those look like Spanish steps.
Oh, I think I see Trevi Fountain down there. I think that's it right down there. But I'm guessing that's where we were headed. I think off in the far distance, not the first dome, but just to the left of it, you can actually see, I believe that might be the Vatican just to the left over there. Vatican City. Yeah, little dome back in there. Quite a ways away. We're going there tomorrow for a big tour. Gotta get up bright and early to go. It's a nice building right here. I like the color. So that is not the Trevi Fountain. Don't know what fountain it is. That's where we thought we were heading. Must have taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. So these are the Spanish Steps. Can't really see the steps because there are so many people on them. Very beautiful, though. Lots of action. Fair number of tourists here. I'd say it even beats Florence as well. We'll have to get up bright and early tomorrow and get over here before any people show up. We get a good clear shot of the steps. This is the Spanish Embassy, which is appropriate. It's right close to the Spanish Steps. It's very nice if you're looking through the gates. That's an interior courtyard though. Okay, so we think we finally found the Trevi Fountain. Benjamin was right. A little more impressive this one than the last one. We can get close to it. We fought our way through the crowd. We're now at the fountain. Very beautiful. Benjamin says it's good to be here on a sunny day because the water is a different color of blue. Also warned us that this is a very big pickpocket area. Like it was 1735 that the Trevi Fountain was commissioned. So this is an example of a nazzone. I just had a drink out of it. These are water fountains that are safe to drink out of from all over, and they're available all over Rome. It's right outside this great big building, which is actually Roman ruins. It's these pillars are all from Roman times. What's the name of the building, Bench?
I don't know.
Anyways, very impressive. We're on our way to the Roman Pantheon. And there's a piazza here. Lots of flowers. And we just spotted some Roman gladiators here. It's always good. Looks like they got fake swords though.
Kill me.
According to the map,
Sorry. According to the map, what?
according to the map of Rome that we just consulted, the temple that just filmed is called Tempio Adriano.
What does it mean?
Adrian Temple.
Perfect. Thanks. Nice street. Oh, what's that? Oh, that looks like the Pantheon. Wow. That's a couple thousand years old right there. Incredible. Wow. It would be helpful if you could read Latin, but I can always Google it. when you get close, you can actually see a bunch of holes in the rock. I don't know if they're bullet holes or what they are. Could have happened during one of the world wars or something. I'll have to find out. It's very weird.
So
But this is in remarkable
building?
condition.
It was a temple to all of the Greek gods originally and all the Roman gods together because Rome used to be pagan and no one could agree whom to worship. So they just had one temple for everyone. And then later it got converted into a Christian basilica or church.
It's in great shape.
Did you guys go in there
notwithstanding
when
the
you
bullet
were?
holes.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have to go. No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do we have enough money to go?
I don't think it costs anything.
It's a freebie. Left to hit a bank machine. Very cool.
I don't think it costs.
The pillars looks like they're made of some sort of marble. It's all black and white. Definitely marble. You look up in. Very impressive. Looks like there's some wooden beams up in there for structure on the roof. We're gonna go ahead in. And now you can actually see in the front of the pantheon. Lots of inscriptions. Here we are inside the Pantheon. It's immense, massive stone roof, and lit by a dome. I believe that this type of architecture that the Romans used, the Europeans couldn't repeat it until probably the 1400s. Some of the domes we saw in Florence were built around that time. They couldn't figure out how to support the weight. And in fact, the other domes were all made out of wood, as opposed to this, which looks like it's solid stone. The Romans knew what they were doing.
But it's different types of stone. The
Yes.
stone on the top is the lightest.
So as Benjamin said, this was converted from a pagan to a Christian church. So you see in some of the reliefs, you'll see different religious statues and that. Frescoes on the walls. And just finishing off the circuit here. Very impressive. Back towards the entrance. So this is actually a Roman fountain. It's been here since Romans times. It's marked. What is the line?
It's marked with the initials of the Latin words, the SPQR.
Yeah.
The Senate and the people of Rome.
Okay, so the SPQR.
Oh, we probably.
So it's SPQR.
Senatus Populus Quae Romanus.
Very good. Hoham, another stolen obelisk from Egypt. Damn Romans. We're at the Piazza, what is this called, Ben?
Piazza Navone.
Piazza Navone, which is, I guess, a big tourist attraction for the church, I guess, the architecture.
Yeah, but it's also a market.
Oh. Give us a spiel there, Benjamino.
No spiel.
So it's a market?
Yeah, there's a market, there's lots of entertainment. A famous fountain, the obelisk, the church. And it's just considered one of the nicer outdoor spaces in Rome.
Alright.
I'm just going across to take a photo.
These guys are actually moving. They're not supposed to move. Oh my god. Well, after our long trek over to the Pantheon and all over the place, we found a really good little spot, which isn't as much of a tourist trap, because we got like a half liter of wine for €5, which is good, and €3 for a beer. But back on the popular squares, it was like 3 times that much. So we're all happy. We got a good little spot here. And we got a swarthy Italian waitress that the women all like. Or waiter, I guess. He's not a waitress, right? Is that right, Chucky?
That's fine. It's on that.
All right, so we just scaled up some steps. We're in a big square here. That, we believe, is the Vatican. It's in the right direction anyways. And we're in a big square here. Not sure what this building is, but it goes all around. Looks like there's some sort of a government building of some sort. Now there's still an obelisk, although there's no hieroglyphs on that. Some sort of officials there. Talking about what we're going to have for supper tonight. Definitely there are some... This is some sort of government. I don't know what it is. We'll have to find out from our tour guide.
They just have their little feet holding on, and then they just do that, and they take a listen. It's really funny. I don't like pigeons, but they are amusing when they do that.
Pretty impressive architecture here. We're on a pretty big street. One of the main drags, it looks like.
What's the name of?
Some sort of ruins over there.
It ends in Mouch.
Alright, we're going to take our life in our hands and try and cross over here.
Oh my goodness.
A neat bird up there. I don't know what it is. We think it might be some sort of a parrot.
No. It had some vivid green.
Really green. Yeah, I'm getting a picture of him here.
Oh, lovely.
I don't know what he is. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got a better shot of him there now.
Eating the little,
He's eating the berries. We're in a park here, just off the main drag. It's a big statue of a famous person. Very neat. And we're starting to get rained on. Got a pretty fancy looking guy there. We think this is some government building. Not sure what it is, but a lot of military presence here. I'm going to be taking photographs and I have to shoot me and confiscate my camera. This is a little sanctuary just off the busy street. It's right next to the church, named after the same street. We went into it, it was beautiful. Very, very dark though. We couldn't take any pictures because it was so dark. But it's very beautiful in here. I I really like the tall pine trees or whatever they are, some sort of pine trees that they've got going here. Definitely a type of conifer anyways. It's a very, very busy street outside, so it's nice to come into a quiet place. You can see the streets of Rome at the far end. At the walls of the Vatican now.
Very different, but sometimes in this fence is more for one side of the room. So this kind of different and we go a little bit upset.
This is the coat of arms of the Pope who wanted to build the wall to protect the goals of St. Peter. Vatican is a city and a state, so it's the smallest country in the world. And it was created in 1927 as a city-state. So that's Michelangelo on the left and Raphael on the right. So the Sistine Chapel was named after the Pope Sistine. It was in 1482-83 that it was built. Michelangelo came here to paint the chapel's ceiling in about 30 years later. And it was just one man. It was 720 square meters.
I need to be standing. Yes, and paint. Plus, because the ceiling of the chapel is curved, I needed with some steps on both sides, you know, to paint the pictures of the seven prophets.
This is the entrance into the Vatican Museum. It was built in 1999, 2000, I believe, by Pope John Paul. Sort of from Roman statues. Hercules. Said there was 22 million visitors in the year 2000, which is 6 times more than usual in a year.
Some Egyptian statues, there are,
These are Egyptian statues, copies.
things here were made in Rome by Roman Egypt. And the clock in the right.
Solid gold statue of Hercules.
The one to the right is like the 4th century. Christ, the time of Emperor Constantine, the mother of Emperor Constantine, was Christian emperor, and Saint
4th century sarcophagus.
In there. Her name is Saint Helen.
Saint Helen.
The daughter of the Emperor Constantine was Santa.
Emperor Constantine's daughter. 4th century. Julius Caesar. Says Emperor Hadrian. Did Hadrian as well, but he was actually born in Spain.
It was decorating
1,900-year-old statue.
the emperor, but
Marble.
in the Middle Ages it was moved into the Church of same marks close to the Colosseum.
Used to be close to the Colosseum.
It was
It's a gallery of it's the Candelabra Gallery. These are all candelabrum.
one on the right.
Used to light Roman
Every
houses.
arch you go through, you find two candlesticks. Romans, they would burn the top. Oil lamp, two lamps.
Used to put an oil lamp on top. Put an oil lamp on top.
Unfortunately, some stations
These are all from Roman times.
broken, with no arms, no legs.
Saw the case there, the case resting on the bottom.
This is the goddess Diana. It was found in a villa outside Rome.
And opposite Diana, again Diana. She's fertility, goddess of fertility.
This is goddess of fertility, Diana as well.
This statue was found in Hadrian's house. Hadrian died after 30 years in this statue.
This was found in Hadrian's house. So it's 1,900 years old.
It's fresh, which means the artist added color on fresh plastic white. The artist is Ludovico Max, and 1887 was called by Pope Leo XIII. It was immortalized there. He did
These were all done in the 1800s.
just to help us. Okay.
This fresco is cracking up only after 130 years, which is why they've got the net there. They'll be restoring it.
And when he was elected, he said, "My name is Pope Leo XIII, and my shield, my emblem symbol,
Pope Leo.
a blue like sky, the star that led the major kings from the Nativity, Jesus, and the symbol of my papacy would be a cypress tree,
That was his symbol.
which means."
These vases dates from the time of Nero. The red is from Egypt.
Cipolla means in English onion, a vegetable. If you don't cut the onion into two halves, you look at the layers. You get the
Most
same
expensive marble.
thing on the layers of this marble. So cipollino.
The statues that all had their organs removed as per the Angel and Demons movie. And then they were replaced with a fig leaf. This is a tapestry gallery. These are very old tapestries. 1525, this one. Made out of silk.
Flashlight in here because it might damage. This tapestry damage horizontal to the back. And then it would be silver, gold, and threads.
These were commissioned by the Medici Pope, Pope Leo. But he sent them to the Flemish weavers because they were the experts at doing these.
Before I mentioned
These are
Raphael,
scenes of the Nativity.
students that work at the cartoons. Raphael, in art history, they say, is the artist who made it to represent like hands and face.
Tapestries were initially for
Tapestry of
insulation.
Jesus Christ resurrection to your left side. Most critics of art, they agree about it, say that this is the most beautiful,
And
perfect
then also
tapestry
for
in here.
acoustics.
And I agree with them. And if you look at Jesus' eyes from here, you can see that Jesus is looking at me, at you, and all of us. Same thing if you go to the opposite side. But if you're now ready to walk real fast with me, always looking at Jesus' eyes, you realize that Jesus will follow you wherever you are. And this is interesting. It reminds me of Mona Lisa, the by Leonardo. Shall we try? Yes? Ready? Now, andiamo. Let's go. Look at Jesus.
Now the eyes should follow.
So just the best artists like Leonardo. Who did the whole thing, the chief artist.
This is the chief artist of the guy who did the tapestry. They were allowed to sign their paintings.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Wow. It's a 24 karat gold ceiling. This is the painted in 1586 to 1589. This is the Hall of the Geographic Maps. These are regions of Italy. That's Sicily here.
Sicilia, which is the extreme south of the Italian country. And if we imagine that Italy, compare Italy to the shape of a boot in the sea, the ocean, Sicily, for its triangular shape, might be considered like the foot of the Italian boot.
Mary's ascension to heaven. Corsica. This is the view of the Vatican Gardens, which occupies 2/3 of the area of the Vatican. Beautiful. This is the entire map of Italy. This is a shot of Venice. And we're leaving the This is Jesus' Last Supper in Jerusalem. And Judas is kissing Jesus. Well, we've just come out of the Sistine Chapel and we're heading to St. Peter's Basilica.
Be careful, Joe.
And it's the outside of the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, that's not good.
Broke? Oh, yeah, it's smashed. Not good. This is the Basilica of St. Peter's. St. Peter was executed by Nero, crucified in 68 AD, I believe, as was St. Paul.
So much.
So the basilica he's buried in the basement, and this is where he was buried. It's the Vatican Square. There was quite a few people here the other day for the Mass.
你要坐电梯排队半个小时。
where the Pope celebrates Mass.
St. Peter's Square.
And this is St. Peter's Square. There was 500,000 people here the other day on Sunday.
Previous days. There's our guide.
There's the Pope. We're heading into St. Peter's Basilica. We've lost Benjamin, and Janet just dropped her camera and broke it, so we've had a double disaster. But we have to move on without Benjamin. Oh, there he is.
Where?
It's right there.
Okay.
We found him.
Get lots of footage of it, okay, Jumba?
Yeah. Which one?
What's that street?
That's Michelangelo there.
That's theater, yeah.
This was sculpted by Michelangelo Piazza when he was 24 years old.
Sin embargo, él quiso estar con la plaza de por eso se le presenta. Bueno, y de estos casos muchísimos. Cuando fue, por ejemplo, a Paraguay, el Papa, resulta que estaban defendían los comunistas y no querían sacar el Papa. Y los cardenales decían, no vayan, que es rico, resulta que cuando llegó a Nicaragua, llegó a Nicaragua y se le representó detrás del altar de los revolucionarios, le pusieron el cartel de un revolucionario. Y el Papa fue a celebrar la misa, le cortaron el sonido y seguía la misa, como diciendo, no me importa lo que suceda.
Stone, the marmalot, and it really shines all over the body of Jesus. And it makes like a contrast between the form of Mary's dress and the body of Jesus Christ. From head and shoulder, shining down to the feet. The same feet that unfortunately were damaged by a crazy man in 1973 when the statue for century was already at the front of the church with no protection. So 1973, somebody would say, that's crazy. He hid a mallet under his jacket. There was no security like metal detectors. So it was easy for him to go before the statue, jump before the statue, smash the face of Mary and the nose of Our Lady, and then destroy the feet of Jesus, with the mallet. Everything was reattached, so accurate, so perfect.
So the Pieta was done just before the statue of David, and it was what made Michelangelo famous. It was actually in New York in 1964. Now up ahead, the body of St. John Paul II is his sarcophagus is now been moved into St. Peter's Basilica as part of the beatification. So it's been here since yesterday, so we're going to see if we can get close to it. And there's his sarcophagus. A lot of Baroque art in this church. Very rich, very ornate. Lots of marble, gold, and bronze. This is the biggest church in the world. 600 feet inside. 186 meters. 2 football fields can fit in this church.
Largest church in the world.
1506 to 1612, over 106 years to build it. It's a basilica. Basilica means that it's built on top of the bones of a saint. So in this case, it's Saint Peter. So there's a presence of a body of a saint.
Who died crucified out there in 68 AD.
68 AD. He was crucified. And his body was buried under the main altar, which is where we're heading now. St. Peter was, St. Paul is actually outside the city, and he was killed as well by Nero, but he wasn't crucified. Statue of Peter, cast in bronze in the year 1285. An artist from Florence did this. So Peter was the first pope. And so once a year he's dressed, the statue is dressed as a pope. That's Vatican mosaic works. People rub the right foot of Peter as a respect to his saint. That's what all those people are doing there. This is the main altar. Only the Pope can stand behind there. So this is where he does Christmas Mass or ordains cardinals. This protects the steps down to the tomb of St. Peter. And it's very, very ornate. Buried in a cemetery underground.
So this is a bronze canopy.
It's a bronze canopy.
Instead it's a solid bronze.
Solid bronze. That's where the Pope goes. This is the biggest bronze canopy in Rome. There used to be one outside the arena that was bigger. The Colosseum was named after the bronze statue, but it no longer exists. "28 meters, and that's as tall as the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Bernini designed this, as well as the wall, which we'll see in a second. This is the wall that Bernini also designed. It's the Golden Angels, also by Bernini, and the Holy Ghost is in the middle. This is an example of Baroque art.
Some people go exactly like this. I think that this much gold is here because it was the Pope's birthday show.
This dome was designed by Michelangelo. He did the wooden mold for it, and then the Pope commissioned him to do it. When he started, he was 82 years old. He died just above the windows, but given they had a model, other architects were able actually to finish it. It's the highest dome in Rome, 124 meters high.
But the inside, those layers are 13 feet big.
So these letters are actually 13 feet tall, which is hard to believe when you're down here. But when you look up above, you'll actually see there are some people up there. And you can actually see, relative to the people, how big those letters really are. It's all Latin, which means you are Peter, I build my church, I believe, on this rock.
Raphael, the great Raphael, painted
It's a replica of a Raphael
is
painting.
Transfiguration of Jesus.
Transfiguration of
He
Jesus.
showed himself to the apostles.
That's where Jesus showed himself after 50 days to the apostles.
The colors of Renaissance art, Raphael, like Michelangelo, was using very lightly colors. You get to see somebody dressed in blue.
Peter is always in yellow and gold. Gold is the keys to heaven.
Peter, the apostle.
Blue is
Peter is up there
heaven.
beside Jesus.
This is the wedding chapel. You can actually book a wedding here, but there's about a 4-year wait typically. Very beautiful.
This is the line of
It's the mummy of Pope Pius X. These are mosaics, which are pretty much indestructible. So he died in 1914, and he is a saint, which means he deserves to be displayed in the chapel. And John Paul II will be displayed across the church once he becomes a saint in a couple of years. Over there. The mosaic was 400 years old. It's never been refreshed or restored. Here's a picture of the Swiss Guard. The uniform was designed by Michelangelo, believe it or not. Didn't know he was a fashion designer as well as an architect, a painter, and sculptor. These guys are directly from Switzerland, and I believe they've been around since 1606, and they have to be Catholic in order to be a Swiss Guard.
Peter Square. Looking at
St. Peter's Square. This is St. Peter's Square, and you see all the chairs being set up. And there's John Paul II.
tapestry of John Paul II. More statues up on top.
There's statues all around. And I believe these are windows where the Pope will appear to do a service. But you never know which window, probably for security reasons. It's a very large square. There's the current Pope. That's the roof of the Sistine Chapel, where the smoke is released when the Pope dies.
The windows where the Pope lives is the third.
That's where the Pope lives. This is the Pope's house right here.
But look at the top floor.
Top floor.
The second window is shut open what the color after the light, and the third window with the screen.
Second and third shutters. That's where the Pope lives.
And the second window, which is where the Pope enters.
Okay. Second window is papal blessing on Sunday morning. So we're walking through the colonnade of St. Peter's Square. Massive pillars here. And we're pretty soon we're going to be heading off from the Vatican. And this is the Vatican flag, and you can get gifts, and all the gifts that you buy here are blessed and then sent to your hotel.
Dropped on the
There's
roof,
the,
Sistine
Tigris
Chapel, and
Right.
quarters for politics.
Building's
That's the
1600
balcony where you
years
see the two
old.
flags from
600
where
years
Il
old
Duce Mussolini
was the
used to stand and
Venetian
speak
Foreign
to the
Embassy
Italian people.
and Mussolini's palace.
Look on your left, beautiful viewing of the whole Victoriano monument. Yes, with the statue
And this
of
is
the
the,
king on a horse. Imagine
was
that
built
just
in the
the statue,
1800s to
just the statue of
recognize Rome
of
as the
the
capital of the
monument
unified
means
Italy.
36 feet big, 12 meters big is the horse up there. Yes, thank you to the driver. Now we keep going. Left seat column,
Column.
and that column dates back to the year 105 AD after Christ. The column shows the Roman army fighting in Eastern Europe. Yeah, this is nowadays army here. There is a Feast of the Army, yes, every year. And June the 2nd, instead, will be Feast of Republic in a month, yes. So the president and all the army will be parading through here, you know, so through this place. But you can see, you know, Roman ruins on the left. So the Roman, they used to tell the story of the army on the marble columns. In those days, there was no camera to make a combat movie, so they would tell story on the marble. To the left, you can see a half a circular red brick building, which was all beautiful in marble, white marble. That was a marketplace. I would say a shopping mall 2,000 years ago. Yes, Trajan's market. And the Trajan had the idea to inaugurate a market with over 100 shops where the Romans, they could go and shop whatever they like. No credit cards was available at the time, but the Romans, they love shopping already. To the left, you can see the statue of Caesar Return Augustus. Same statue we got to see in the museum, colorful. He was the emperor number one. To the right side, the Senate of Rome. Easy to visit, you know, so I would like to invite everybody to see Colosseum inside. Once we exit the Colosseum, people that want to sit in the shade, take a seat and wait 20-25 minutes. People that want to explore more of the area, to the right side, to see the altar of Julius Caesar, Temple of the Eternal Fire.
We're coming up to the Colosseum, and this is a Roman arch. Arch of Emperor Constantina. He eliminated paganism and unified everything under Christianity. 313 AD it was erected. Colosseum was built in just 8 years. It was completed around 80 years after Christ. These are war prisoners. Their hands bound in chain. And they're going to be sold as slaves.
A little bit higher, by the shoulder of the animal, right in the middle of the picture. See, there's a head of a cow. Don't forget the cow, sheep, and pig. The way the family is always killed.
Cows, sheep, and pigs were always killed a day before the battle. Those are the animals there. And this is the emperor leading his troops in the day before the battle.
So what does it mean? Let's go. It means that we have
Built 12 years after Peter and Paul died. So that'd be 80 AD, I guess.
What's that?
How much they had to dig out.
You can see the tunnels through there where people are standing. Two earthquakes damaged the Colosseum, so some of the arches are So some of the archway fell off. It was abandoned for 2 centuries until 1800, until Napoleon invaded Rome. So he decided to preserve it. You can see ruins all the way around. I don't know if that's where the Christians and the lions came out over there or what. Interesting. Lots of ruins all over the place. Janet and Benjamin waiting to go in. They're going to do a Christian lion thing in there later. Should be exciting. We got really good seats too. That's an impressive building. Hopefully it'll last another couple thousand years. I don't know how they're going to protect it though. There's all sorts of ruins across the highway too, and walls, ancient walls. You see them, they've been there. And there's little walls, and you can see where rooms have come out perpendicular to that wall over there. Very cool. And across from the Colosseum is where Nero used to live. These are not new buildings, but he used to have a house with a roof of gold. So the Colosseum was actually built after Nero died, and it was a way to motivate people, provide them with entertainment and that, because they'd had such a horrible time with Nero. And so this is the location where Nero's palace was. So now we're inside the Colosseum. We get to skip through the lineups here as we're on a tour. Massive blocks. Those look like chunks of the Colosseum. I think they're doing some restoration work. There's a metal bar that's joining the 2 blocks of marble. That was preventing against earthquakes, so they would tie the blocks of water.
There used to be bronze.
Used to be bronze here, but this bronze was stolen. That's why you see these holes.
It seems like a detail, but the whole arch is based on this stone.
Yeah, built with a keystone. Sorry. This is the arch that supports the box where the emperor used to sit.
Another radius with me, but fake those. Stand by me, like the sun says. This is the cross, so that reminds us that 1714 the Pope, he started celebrating the Sacred and the predator Benedict was here.
And the columns everywhere. These columns used to be decorated all around the attic of the Colosseum. Unfortunately, they fell after the earthquake and they broke into.
Yeah. A lot of these arches fell and broke during the earthquake. You can see over there some of the only remaining marble seats are are still there. The whole Colosseum used to have marble seats, but they were stolen over the years, and people used them in their house for stairs or whatever. Nero originally had this as a private lake, and then see down in there. This is where the Caesars used to preside over everything. We were underneath it before. Titus was the first Caesar, and this place holds 55,000 people. So they ran the inauguration ceremonies for several months in order to get all the population of Rome, which was 1 million at that time, to see the ceremonies with the gladiators and the animals. Something in the neighborhood of 11,000 animals were actually killed during the inauguration ceremonies.
And at the end of every corridor, there was an open passage with an elevator.
This is where this is underground. This is where the lions and servants and gladiators would prepare.
By means of those square shafts that you can see, lanes, elevators would
lift the animal up to the top.
And all of a sudden, you would
So the animal was forced into a cage, and it was brought by elevator up to the top. This is the Arch of the Winners. This is where the gladiators used to exit after fighting with the lion. Get a better idea of all the caverns down below. This is where the actual emperor sat. I said originally it was over there, but I was wrong. Right down there. And the cross is recognizing the Christians that were killed in the Colosseum. The Pope was just here in April, evidently, and they do some ceremonies here. These holes, smaller holes in the walls were used, and they had hooks to hang marble slabs. I forget how many thousands of tons of marble were here. So the whole Colosseum was closed with, encased with marble. It also had a roof that went over it on hot days. It was made out of a canvas. So on hot days, it would actually put a canvas veil over the whole Colosseum.
Yeah.
Very neat. We're off to see the forum now.
They had the same sort of thing.
These are the ruins of an old temple, 125 AD by Hadrian.
Okay.
Hadrian loved architecture.
€5, otherwise I get 5.
I'll loan you 5, but give me 6 in return.
You got another 5?
So Hadrian was trying to replicate
I'll pay you back on
Egyptian architecture and sculptures. 52 meters high. There used to be a statue called the Colossus of Nero here, but it's melted down, I guess, a long time ago because it was made out of bronze. These are ancient Roman cobblestones. It's very uneven. So people have trouble walking on them. These had been buried for a long time, and I guess the Italian people who excavated them had trouble fitting them back together. So I guess, you know, they tried to approximate it, but it's quite a rough area. This is the progression of the Roman Empire. Sir Julius Caesar added France, pretend. Yeah.
Most of Britain landed the Greek.
Most of England. This section here was all burned, all this left the hill by Nero. Nero wanted to get rid of some of the slums of Rome, so he killed it all, set it on fire. All sorts of ruins down here. So he was saying that Rome was really a melting pot of different religions, and Romans didn't really care if you're a Christian or Jewish or what you were, so long as you respected the institutions, such as the emperor, and pay your taxes, of course. So Nero wasn't necessarily against Christians. He was just using them as scapegoats to get rid of them. Or I guess he was against them, but he couldn't get them for religious reasons, so he accused them of burning Rome. And so Peter and Paul were, I think, killed as part of that purge, and of course became saints. So we've just descended to a certain level, which means this is the ground level for Rome 2,000 years ago. Rome's much higher today. This has been uncovered by archaeologists. This is the Senate of Rome here, or it was. There were 7 layers that they went down, I guess different versions of the city.
Qui abbiamo quello che resta di alcuni elementi emblematici. Allora, quello che vediamo lo riconoscete
Inside the Senate now there's not much is left. But there used to be
Not much left of the Senate.
if senators they when they were voting were in favor of the city, they would keep sitting on the right. If they were against the city, they would leave.
So the Roman cobblestones again. These are all ruins of the Senate. This is the main street of the Forum. This is where the death of Julius Caesar was celebrated. He wasn't really killed in the Senate. It was actually killed closer to the Tiber River where the Senate was meeting.
piano e peraltro è stata anche notevolmente restaurata. Però per esempio qui al centro dove c'è l'impalcatura abbiamo.
This is where Julius Caesar's ashes were buried. And this is where Mark Antony made his speech about Caesar during the funeral procession. Caesar had basically wanted to get away from an elected Senate, which is really the root cause of why he was killed. So the senators didn't like this and decided to assassinate him. So then the ashes were eventually distributed into the Tiber River. But this is where he was actually burned. And this is the shrine to Julius Caesar. So this was actually turned into a temple because Julius Caesar was considered to be divine. Of course, it's all ruined now. Up on that hill was where Caesar was going to build his palace before he was murdered. He would have been way up above all of the rest of the city of Rome, of course, in those days.
In the lyrics of that song, they were mentioning one of the 16 Vestal virgins.
Yes, I remember that.
Who were the Vestal virgins? Were pagan priestesses, yes. They were in the temple of Vesta, where the sacred fire of Rome used to be venerated day and night.
This is the sacred temple of Rome. And the Vestal virgins used to live there. And it was the eternal flame of Rome.
The Romans, they believed that the life of Rome, the existence of Rome, and the Romans, they have to work hard with the ladies in the temple to make sure that that fire, they will never stop, will never die, otherwise would bring bad luck for Rome. It would be like a moth in its right direction. So they needed not just one, but many, so they would take over precisely 16 Vestal virgins. And the temple of the Vestal Virgin, which is behind me, it must have been beautiful in the ancient time. Let me show you the picture. There we go.
Said the emperor was the most powerful. The Vestal virgins were the second most powerful. And then the Senate was the third most powerful. So it was in an axis leading right through the heart of ancient Rome, which is where we are now. So given the fire was here, it's the center of the center of Rome. That's the best of the Vestal virgins. This is a mausoleum. So this is supposedly the temple of Romulus. So they used to think that that's where Romulus, the founder of Rome, was buried here. But evidently that's not true. It's actually the son of the last pagan emperor, is Romulo or Romulus.
Voir les éboues tout à fait sous la boîte à
Yes. Until 1870, all this part of Rome was all buried up to this level. These are medieval shops. There used to be shops here in the 1200s, medieval porch.
Everything was buried up to
So it
that
was the
level.
King of Italy who ordered to dig out down here, 1870, because he said, I cannot stand the fact that all this valley of Rome, the glory of Rome, is buried in the underground. If you turn around, look at that arch there. That arch was erected to honor the second legion of the Emperor Septimius Severus when Rome conquered Afghanistan, 208 AD. After 8 months, they conquered Afghanistan, they came back to Rome, and they were dedicating a big arch. The Roman army would enjoy military parade through here the emperor at the chariot, and then up to the temple of Jupiter. Half of that arch was completely buried underground for centuries until 1870. And you know what they did in the upper part? They added 2 walls, they walled up both sides, they opened a little tiny door, and in the 1700s they made a barber shop. Barber shop. So if you wanted to have a special haircut, that's where you would go. I wonder how much more they would charge to have a haircut in the emperor's archie. But the Romans, they neglected for centuries this area. They didn't know what archaeology, what art means like nowadays. So they just let...
So now we're going to walk on a real cobblestone road. It was always built by the army, he said. These cobblestones are much easier to walk on.
Non, de toute façon, vu que tu restes enfermé dans ta chambre.
See the Roman brick. Roads like this went all through the empire so they could put down revolts. This is the Arch of Titus, and it was used to celebrate the victory over Jerusalem in 66 AD. And of course they raided the Temple of Solomon, and gold and that came back through this particular archway. A lot of these arches were dedicated to military victories. So this depicts the battle. '81 AD it was erected. The Senate and people of Rome. 81 AD. You can see the Colosseum through the ruins. So basically what we just saw was about 1,300 years of history of Rome. It started 730 BC up on that higher hill, and it ended at about 400 and something AD when the barbarians forced the final emperor, who was also named Romulus, to basically step down. And that happened down at the bottom where we just were, in the lower part that had been excavated. Very cool.
Jewish ghetto with all nice restaurant there behind the synagogue.
Oldest bridge in Rome,
very
2,050 years old.
original, typical
And that's the
Roman
Tiber River
cuisine.
down there.
Even me, when I have time, you know.
Looks like the American embassy there. It's all fenced off. They're on high alert after the assassination of bin Laden. And here you can see the orange trees that are grown all along the side of the street in Rome. Looks like they've got a good crop there. Don't eat them?
It's Wednesday, May 4th today, and it's an absolutely superlative morning here in Rome. Don't know if you can pick them out, but there's a ton of swallows flying around. That's that high-pitched noise. Whoa, you can hear in the background. We haven't gone down for breakfast yet. Got to sleep in and have the whole day in front of us to explore. Alrighty. We are in, how do you pronounce it, Benjamin? Trastevere?
No, Trastevere.
Trastevere. It's the Jewish section of Rome, and it's very beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous day here today, and we're going on the lookout for the Piazza Santa Maria, I
The
believe.
church, actually.
Yeah, and the church which is in that square.
And actually, it used to be the Jewish section, but now it's like the trendiest neighborhood in Rome, basically.
And we did
it
see some
has-
cool shops.
And it has a lot of nice shops. And and restaurants, and more or less every young couple wants an apartment in
Yeah.
Trastevere.
And we actually took a public transportation bus over here for €1. So we're having a good morning thus far. One problem with filming buildings in Rome is that they're so large they don't all fit in the viewfinder. And we're not sure what these trees are. The bark is really quite different. Jim thinks it's some type of maple tree. Or sycamore maybe. They're huge, nice green space. I got you yesterday, I think, with the camera.
Got on my glasses.
I'm gonna take it.
My glasses are all wet.
What? I think it's where things go there. Watch out.
Lui era allargato lì. Sì, sta là dietro.
I guess it's sort of like the Bywood Market, but better.
It's like some pretty old art up on the top of that. Paintings up on top of that. Could be a mosaic.
Huge pine tree. Look at the bark. I can see that.
Wherever we sit, I don't want to hide.
And what would you say?
3/4. Really? 3/4?
What are you getting, beer or wine? €2 for pizza.
Charlie went.
Charlie went where?
This was a really grumpy waitress.
Yeah.
On the lookout for bus tickets, which can be obtained at the tobacco shops. Okay, here comes the bus. We're hoping it's ours. It's been a short jaunt over to Trastevere, but it's been really pretty. Really enjoyed it.
Shoot it. She's in Egypt. Or no, it's not. The Tigris is in Iraq. Where's the Tigris? I've never heard of it. Tigris, everything is in Iraq. That's where the garden of Eden is.
Maybe.
Oh no, it's not the pedestrian, there's cars on it.
That's quite the plaza in the middle there.
Oh yeah, that's got a bypass there. How can you use a cell phone and drive in this traffic? Like that girl. Like almost all of them are eating or using their cell phone or texting. That before she opens the door now. Get killed. Some more old pillars. Some more ruins. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird how they just...
Here we are in the foyer of the Star Hotel's Metropole. Front desk, concierge. We made it back safe and sound on the bus. Just waiting for our next tour.
You see there is a baptisterium which was dedicated to the Emperor Constantine and the Lateran University. All the area belonged to the Vatican City. Allora après l'entrée de la basilique, vous pouvez voir l'artistère dédié à l'Empereur Constantin, l'université de Latran et toute cette... Now we are continuing on the Appian Way on the left. We will meet the Church of the Domine Quo Vadis, that according to the legend was the place where St. Peter had the apparition of Jesus Christ. And you have been in Latin where he was l'église du Domine Quo Vadis, que signifie au latin où tu vas Jésus. Et selon la légende, c'est le lieu où Saint-Pierre et l'apparition de Jésus-Christ en lui demandant où il allait.
Links the southern part of Italy. It's a Roman road.
Pour la crucifixion.
Nice countryside. We're on the Appian Way here, and we're heading towards the catacombs. Here we are at the catacombs.
This might be a different catacombs.
We went down the Appian Way to get here. We passed the old city wall. That was protecting Rome from the barbarians, built in the 1st century AD. These are just the gardens outside.
Well, I promise you next time.
Okay, this is the catacomb Domitilla that we just went through. Unfortunately, there was no pictures allowed, but it was very interesting. It dated from basically the 2nd century AD until the 5th century AD. And it's outside the city of Rome, but it turns out that not just Christians, but all sorts of, every religion used to bury their dead underground, and they had to be buried outside the city limits for basically for health reasons. So the necropolis was a Roman, pagan, Jewish, and Christian catacomb. And so there's catacombs all over the outside of the city. And this one that we just visited was a Christian one. And at the higher level of the catacomb is the older of the tombs. And the lower down you go, there was 5 levels and about 11 kilometers of tunnels. Those are the more recent graves. But most of the graves have been robbed and there was no bones or anything left. Anyways, it was very interesting, worth the trip. And it was about 15, 16 degrees down there and very damp. We saw a fresco from about 373 AD. And it had been all covered in mildew because it's damp and cool down there. And they'd restored it, so it was very cool. And this is a picture of the front of the church. And so the catacombs go all underneath the garden and underneath the Appian Way across the road. And very beautiful gardens too.
Geschäfte und Schwimmwege mit verschiedenen Temperaturmaßen. Das heißt Laut-Warmwasser mit dem Tepidarium, Kaltwasser mit Frigidarium und Warmwasser mit Tepidarium. Dann am 6. Jahrhundert nach Christus die Barbaren hatten from the main entrance, which has been restored at the end of the 19th century by Alessandro Galilei. On your right, you will admire one of the 4 holy doors of the Jubilee, which is held every 25 years. On your left, a statue of that.
Come back from the church, stop for a while to see the holy staircase inside. But just see, don't climb on your knees. Okay? Wenn Sie kommen zurück von der Kirche, Sie können ja ein bisschen halten und after the election of the new Pope, the Pope after some days does the tour of the 2 other churches in Mary the Major and St. Paul, and then he comes here to taking possession of the church, because this was the first church in which the popes lived for more than 1,000 years. The church is dedicated to St. John the Baptist. So when Constantine in the 1st century was founded the church, it was dedicated to the church of this So as you see, the church today is very different from the original one. This is bigger than the original church. And the restoration of the church starts in the Middle Age. And from this period we have the rights of life that remember time to the photos. The mosaics of Baptist, which dates back to the 13th century, and the sugar of the bindings with the
Okay, these inside this church, this is the first church that was used by the popes, and these doors are over 2,000 years old. So the Pope still comes here. This is one of 2 or 3 churches that the Pope frequents. The statues around the side are all of, I think, up by Bernini, and they're of the 12 disciples. Evidently in this church there are remains of the table from the Last Supper, and well, you can't see them, but they're in the altar to the left of the tabernacle at the end of the that I'm zooming in on now.
Walking across here.
Okay, I'm gonna film this. This is a crosswalk in Rome, and this one actually is a stoplight, so we should be okay. But it's pretty crazy, so I'll just keep rolling here when we go across, and can bear witness. All right, here we go. Oh, this is nothing. This is a breeze this time. This lady's still right here in the way, but no, that was nothing. Okay, we made it across, but all these tourists are trying to, no, this one was pretty good. Not too much arguments. Except these guys were anxious to get there, so they just came up on the sidewalks. Don't take out the nun.
So the steps that we're looking at are supposedly the steps that Jesus crawled up on his way in to see Pontius Pilate. I don't know if he crawled up it or if he walked up it. I assume they were relocated to Rome. And so the tradition is that you climb up on your knees, and at each step you stop and say a prayer.
light for us, but yeah. Okay, we just discovered that the church that we were at was St. John, and the other one that we were at isn't actually a church, it's just called the Holy Steps, and it was just built to accommodate and surround the steps.
Well known also to have another name. This church is called the St. Mary of the Snow because there is a legend that tells that the 5th of August the Pope had in dream the Virgin, and dreaming the Virgin she said that if the snow fall down on the Esquiline Hill he had to build a church for her. So the day next was the miracle of the snow. And
okay, this is St. Mary's Church.
Okay, we're in the Basilica of Santa Maria. This roof is made out of gold, which was some of the first gold that came back from the New World, and it was given to as a gift to the Pope by the King of Spain. It may not be on display today, but if it is, there is an urn which contains the remains of the manger. This church also is the only church that's still built or still has the remains of the 5th century church, so it's still intact, and a lot of the stuff is new, like the roof and that, but the actual original church is actually still here. The other interesting point here is Bernini is actually buried, and his family is buried in the floor up ahead. So there's a ceremony going on, so we aren't allowed to go too close to the altar at this point. So we may not be able to get some close-up pictures. Beautiful stained glass. This is a chapel off the side of the main church. As usual, many beautiful paintings. I'm assuming these are frescoes, actually. Oh, there's a big crack up there. That one.
this is the item that's in between those 4 pillars inside, the sacra cula, that houses bits of wood from the manger.